No, it's not. He's a good friend of Geshe. And Geshe has been involved in the science, the education of the monks at Sarah Day Monastery, Wisconsin. So he set up the science program for them. Anyway, and he is coordinator for the what is it, Geshe?
Science for Monks and Science with Dharma program.
Monks in Dharma. So he's been liaison for various professors at university having to understand the latest cutting edge science, so he can introduce that to the monks. And I think Geshe Tartan wanted to say a few words. But just we have about 25 people online as well, just letting you know. So it was like a live event. And if you have any questions, then perhaps say them at the end and yes, I can take questions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. I will tell a little bit of background Geshe-la's journey. I know. I know a lot of things I don't know. Since we first I met in 1989, I was there. That time I met Geshe-la. Now we spent how many years? Nearly 35, 36 years nearly. And Geshe-la's our teacher, senior student, and then subject he learned all subjects. Also, he learned lots of modern science, and then he did lots of service for our teachers, and he's very good to service there for teacher and making Thomas, and he teach me lots how to cook. Pass agent, my teachers attendant. I don't know how to cook. I run. He's please come. And most my cooking teacher. and then especially teacher has some important things and need Geshe-la. I need go to Geshe-la's house and bring home, and then teacher give lots important job for him. Therefore, we are very close relationship we have had, and then now he's coming here. This good opportunity, and I think most important is we need learning from Geshe-la said Buddhism and modern science, how to relate it, and any kind of your question, please no hesitate, and thank you very much, Geshe-la, coming here.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Philippa and Geshe-la that invite me here. Especially I got the Chidamani Dara's self-generation and complete generation teaching from Jadaram, which is very, very rare, I think so. So far, I didn't heard that someone has given this kind of teaching. And then, yes, I just welcome all of you. And I'm still learning, so whatever questions you have, I'll appreciate. It doesn't mean that I have all the answers, but still I'm learning by, listening. So, yeah, I think I'll start from my journey. When I was very young, the sisters, elder sisters, and they used to tell us that science is not good for your faith. Science can destroy your faith. And other side, they always used to tell us that in Buddhism, they tell us the truth. They're searching for truth. And I always find a contradiction, because in one side, they said Buddhism is searching truth. On the other hand, when we learn science, basically it was very, very basic level, but still they are searching for truth. So I found that a little bit contradiction. And then later on, it's a long story. And then later on, when I graduated from Sergey, I got Geshe Haramba degree, and then I was in Gyumri Tantric, was almost to finish. And then one day I got a call from Sergey administration. It was in 2000, early 2000. They said, we are having a first science workshop organized by the Gandhar Potong, the Dalai Lama Trust. And they are looking for, if possible, they are looking for geishas who does understand some sort of English. So the Sergey administration, they said that you should go there. I was very happy because I was looking for such an opportunity. And then we joined the science workshop, the first science workshop ever. And then from 2001, there was a two project coming up. One is Science Meets Dharma, which is run by the Switzerland Rikun Tibet Institute. They said that in 1999, His Holiness Dalai Lama advised them to, if you could give a science education to the monks in India, or maybe you can invite some monks to the Switzerland and give the science, basic science information. And after their discussion, they said, inviting couples of monks from India to Switzerland and organizing all the accommodation and the process of the legal process. Lots of legal process has to go through, and it's going to be quite expensive. And maybe it's not going to be too wide, just little, some people, they can give information to numbers of monks. But instead of them, they thought that if we bring the teachers to India and we give this science education in the monastery, then they can do it wider, kind of, more people. And then they came to India and they have done a little bit of research. And then they start teaching science in the monastery. They bring the teachers from Switzerland, German, France. Of course, those are the teachers are volunteers. And then the Ragun Tibet Institute, they organize their living and cooking, everything is there for them. So they started it in 2001 was a pilot project, and then from 2002 they started regular basis. There was maybe 30 monks in the class, so they'd start teaching science. It was very, very kind of beginning. And that time we have only in the Belgobe. And then from 2003, 4 onward, then Moon God also we start teaching English, science in Sarah, Drapung, Gandhi as well. So at that time, I was coordinating for them. And that was one project. It lasts, still the project is going on, but they taught 10 years in the monastery. And then later on, we handed over to the monastery. We said, "Apko, now you can do it. We'll be supporting from outside." So they are doing this. I worked for them like 12 years for helping them. And then at the same time, we have another project called Science for Monks, Science for Monks and Nuns. That was in 2001. There is a Sega Foundation in America. He helped to the Dalai Lama Institute, Dalai Lama Fund, I think Dalai Lama Trust. So from Dalai Lama office, they are giving all the expenses supporting inside the India, but the Sega Foundation, they bring the teachers from outside. They take care of the expenses for the teachers. And that was going for the 3 year. And then Bobby Sager, he was very happy, and then he continued for another 3 year. And then he didn't make any kind of timeline, but he has been doing continuously working. And last year we celebrated Silver Jubilee, which is 25 years. So these are the kind of science educations that we have given in the monastery. And from 2008, we had another one science project called Emory Tibet Science Initiative. It was taken care of by the Emory University. And they taught, I think, 5 or 6 years in the India to the group of people. Their motive was not just to teach them, but create a curriculum for the monks, science curriculum. Because most of the teachers who came to the India, when they taught science, so they said the current curriculum which we are teaching in the school, it will not work for the monks. Because they think that the monks doesn't have any kind of basic math knowledge. They need the mathematics in the science. But the capacity of learning in the mind, the doing experiment and thinking is beyond many more things. So they think we should create another curriculum, especially for the monks and nuns. So for that, they've been teaching, they create a curriculum, they teach to a group of people, and then they go through it again, and next year they teach this. Maybe they make a little bit change, whatever they needed, and then they teach to the next class, and then they finalize it. So therefore, nowadays, we have many textbooks, biology, physics, neurology, mainly these three topics, and of course, somewhere they mix up the cosmology as well. Yeah, so that was how it come to the science education in the monastery. These 3 projects are still going on. Some are very active, some are a little slow down, but are still going on. And I've been coordinating for the Science Meets Dharma for the last 14 years. And then I said, okay, now I just step out, but they are still working. And then later on, the Bobby Sager, he came to me and said he wanted me to help them. So I'm still coordinator in this Science for Monks. The one very interesting with the Bobby Sager was, he said when he was in America, it was maybe early maybe late 90s could be. When he was in America, His Holiness was giving a talk in a public talk. He was there. And then just after the talk, he went to uh, get an audience with the Dalai Lama. As soon as he was there, he got the audience. The first time he's meeting Dalai Lama with his kids and wife. And then he asked His Holiness, what I can do for you. So without any thinking, His Holiness said, you go and help to the science education in the monastery. That was his kind of first kind of touching information. Dalai Lama even didn't thought of a second, and he immediately said, go and help this. So since then came to us, and he not only spending money, but he used to come to the workshops, many workshops, not every day, but every time. But he used to come there, stay with the monks, spend a time there. And he's not only helping the science program for the monks, but he's helping somewhere in Africa, Pakistan, and in many places. So his motive was, he says, when you are helping someone, not only spending money, but need to give time. That's what he thinks, which makes him more satisfying, as well as encouraging others as well. So therefore, he used to come very often. And one day, one of our monk, moon god monk, asked him, we used to have a communication. So he asked him, you are not Buddhist. He's, I think, Jewish. And you never had any connection with the Tibetan people in early. So why are you helping, why you are spending a lot of money for this project? So his answer was, it was very, very touching for us even. He said, in this world, we are having lots of problems. War, natural disaster, and even between inside the society, people are losing trust each other. So he thinks that maybe Buddhism could be a flower, medicine flower for these problems. If it is so, then we all should take care of that flower. So that was his answer. So we even never thought of this kind of, answer from them. And then, yeah, that was very touching and kind of things. And then, of course, we had many experience with the many different teachers. Many of them come with a very curiosity. They are professors in their own field, but they are teaching us, but at the same time, they are asking questions. What do you think? Every time they ask, what do you think? So one day I asked to a person, they call her Bryce Johnson. He used to work a lot, many years he worked with us. So he said, because they wants to know what you think. And I think that the early teachers, they have given kind of information what we said and what they think about it. So therefore, most of them come with a very curiosity. Of course, they are not Buddhist. And so that is kind of brief information. And then, of course, that was from there onward, my interest in science came up. But then we joined couples of science workshops. And then when I was first working for the science project, it was very, very difficult for me, especially, because you can imagine that the monasteries, usually especially in Tibet, we are not allowed to learn Tibetan grammar. And also they have a lot of puja texts, like we have been doing prayers, many pujas. We are not allowed to read those texts. It doesn't mean these are not important, but it means that you are wasting your study time in this. Therefore, they want us just to focus on the philosophy study. So in that culture, we are bringing a completely new subject, which is science. And also um, in early, many people in their mind, uh, not only in the Eastern, but even in the West, always people thinks that religion and science doesn't have to do anything. People always think those are completely different. They may be true in some manner, but His Holiness Dalai Lama is the one who thinks we need to, make a conversation. We need to communicate. Let's learn from each other. And then we have one professor in Switzerland who was a Nobel laureate who reinvented the MRI, Professor Richard Ernst. So he was very supportive, and he always says, so far nobody have thought of having communication with science and religion. His Holiness is the only one who could think of this. So now we don't have to think anything, just let's go whatever he says. Let's go on it. So he was very supportive with us, but unfortunately he passed away 2 years ago. He was a Nobel laureate. So this way we came here. Yeah, since mankind came on the earth, there are every year, every decade, every century came on learning something more and more and more. And then later on, they came to, first of all, they try to learn how to survive. When we are quite comfortable, now we are learning why we are here. And slowly, the religion, different types of religions comes up. And then people having a more communication, and then people travel more, then learning East and West. So this is how we came up, learning and learning. In India also, in early, many philosophers, I think at that time, many of them, they had every facility, the comfortable facility, whatever they could create at that time, they have that, but still they are looking for something more. And today, in the modern world, we have many comfortables are there. Now we can fly, even in the restaurant, the technology is bringing food to you nowadays. It's coming up, but still we are not satisfied. We are looking for something. So that is one process, I think, why the scientists are come into the Buddhism and trying to find something. So that's, and then yes, I think the most interesting thing for the scientists is how the way of experiment. Of course, we are doing all thought experiment. We are using logic to prove the things. And then what logic we are using, how we prove that, how we convince that the subject. That is one thing they are really very much interested, and to find out what the reality is going through. And one of the professor, he asked me one question. I was very honest with that. He said, if we could prove the Buddha's theory of relativity, empty of inherently existence, and twirling of independent arising, Four Noble Truth, what would you do? He said, if we could falsify all these things. I said, honestly speaking, I will throw out this old rope and come with you. I was very serious, really. I used to think. And he said, why? Because I don't want to waste my life. So at the moment, what I think, what I'm doing is only right way, right path. I'm doing really good thing. So that's why I'm stick on it. If I'm doing something which is no use, then why should I waste my life? So, and then he was, immediately he didn't say anything to me. But then after something, he went to an abbot and he told what I said to the abbot. But fortunately, abbot prized me, so I'm good. I'm good thing. Yeah, so these things are, some people ask, maybe he could be serious, or maybe he's asking me what I think. And then one time, the same guy, the Bryce Johnson, he said, in the science, since 16th, 17th century, science has been developed years and years, and nowadays they came to quite high level now. Since they are particle level, they are coming very, very deep, and too much development is there. But in Buddhism, since Buddha's time till today, you don't have any development. There's nothing new. So I just laughed at him, and I asked him, in the mathematics, 2 plus 2 is 4. It has been invented many thousand years back. Why there's no invented more than that? Why can't you make 2 plus 2 5? Why can't you make 2 plus 2 6? He says that is not possible. That could be the answer. In other hand, maybe on the earth, no one has found something better than the Buddha has been found. Buddha came here as an ordinary person. He didn't came here as a miracle. He didn't do anything. That he just came as a prince. He faced all the difficulties what we are facing today, and then he did struggle to gain the knowledge what he had. And from that, he have seen something we haven't seen, and he have been showing us that the path. So through that way, so I said that is the one why I'm too much sticking on this. So please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. You can disturb me anytime. Yeah. So, but anyway, why we have been trying to develop all these things? Why? Because we want happiness. The thing is that we need more comfortable. When we say happiness, kind of, not only pleasure, but so that's why sometimes some of the teachers, when they talk, they said, oh, what do you want? Happiness. For how long? Infinite. So what are you doing to get that kind of happiness? So the answer is that we think to get this kind of happiness is we need to create in our mind. So to that, we need to know the reality of the phenomena, and physical phenomena and non-physical phenomena. So therefore, the scientists are doing lots of experiment, and as Buddha himself done a lot of experiment. So during those length, when we talk about they taught about the particles, so it was one thing when you go smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller particle, which is far from, but still it's just far from the finest particle, which today they call quantum. In Abhidharma Kosha, the Vasubandhu, he explained quite detail about the particles. But we are exactly don't know. We try to measure those particles according to the Vasubandhu's text, but we didn't came a common result because we are divided in four groups, and we try to uh, differentiate all those things like so we try to measure all these things, but we didn't have a common answer, but we all had a quite very down, very settled. And then most of the interesting on that particle and any matter phenomena, the scientists, they always says the particle in the any matter doesn't stay at one place. They are always on moving. Exactly the same thing that Vasubandhu has taught in the treasure of knowledge. That is number one. And number two, the scientists found the particle inside the matter, they are never touch each other. Always there is a gap. So the exactly same thing the Vasubandhu taught in Treasure of Knowledge. We used to debate in the class, if it is not touched, then when we hit what do you call it, gong, if it is not touched on the gong, how it make the sound? So we used to debate in the classroom. So that is also, we always says between, they never touch either, but there is, we used to call lung, but I don't know whether it's okay to translate as a air or wind. But anyway, there's, nowadays in a science, they call energy. You know, they are not touch either, but there is an energy. I think they found the saying that energy later on out, because they found something inside, but they don't know what it is. Could be wave, could be electric power, could be magnetic power, whatever. Yeah, so these things are quite common. Ground came to there. And then other thing is that matter can change into energy, energy can change into matter. Since the Big Bang, the matter, whatever the quantity we have, is still there, not more, no less. That we found very common. So one interesting thing, I asked to one of the teacher, it's okay, nowadays we know we have a telescope. We have a microscope to see tiny things. We have a telescope to see a far thing. But Vasubandhu, it could be in the 16th century, 17th century. He doesn't have the microscope. He doesn't have the telescope. How could he explain such detail? That was one wonderful thing I had. Of course, the Vasubandhu's cosmology, many people doesn't believe it, me too, because the length and some of the measurement doesn't fit today's uh, cosmology. As we understand, maybe they have another concept, some concept maybe we don't understand in that text context. We still can investigate. And then, yeah, then maybe we can, I can say here, so that at the time, so that now in the physics, this is whatever we see, the appearance doesn't exist as we think, or yeah, as we see. So here we always talks about the nangne mitimba. It means the reality and appearance are different. Then they are not same. And then I was one of the mathematics teacher, professor in, I think he was in the New York, there is a one university. I forgot the name of the university. So he was very exciting and very happy. He's mathematician, and about the partless. There cannot be a partless particle. They always can be a part. So his theory is, of course, 1 kilometer can be divided into 1,000 feet. 1,000 can be divided into 12, that what we can see it, inches, and then millimeter. But still he can divide that into 100. The one after this 100 can be divided into 100, and then continuously there's infinite can go out. So there he was very excited in that every phenomena has a part, or when we say the whole phenomena is dependent on the part. The part are dependent on upon the whole. So that is one thing. Another thing, when we talk about the impermanent, we always say, like, maybe I can use this cups. What we see today, the same thing, and tomorrow we see same thing, and then maybe for a month, in a year. But inside these molecules or the particles, they never stay as it is. They are continuously moving, even a millisecond. Even a 1,000 of the millisecond, it doesn't say it's continuously moving. That shows that is kind of impermanent phenomenons. When we say impermanent, so sometimes sometimes the terms make us a little bit confusion. When we measure the speed, so say, oh, this is speed. The speed is permanent. Constant speed they call permanent, but sometimes for us it makes a little bit, how could it become permanent? It's always moving. Of course, the speed is constant, but still, yeah. So these are very interesting things that we learn from science as well. We used to say these are impermanent. Every step is moving forward to the decaying process. But in Buddhism, we never investigate particle. Of course, we say we are doing the thought experiment on the way, but nowadays they can see in the microscope and things that we can learn from them. And then yes, in the Tibet Buddhism, we divided all the phenomena, all the impermanent phenomena in the 3 divisions. We call it matter and consciousness and non-compositional factor, right? Dhammadvija. So this non-compositional phenomena and the science, they put in matter, like energy, force. They use it in the matter, but we in the Buddhism, they don't add this. Of course, not only Buddhism, but maybe in the Indian traditional knowledge, they may put it in a different category. So this category is especially for the Buddhist practitioner, this category is very important. All the imprint come into that category. The imprint are not physical phenomena, because we cannot see, we cannot hear, we cannot touch, we cannot smell. The physical phenomena is always explained as of the object of 5 senses, mostly. And then behind it, the product of all those things like energy, power, force, imprint, these are we categorize into the non-compositional factor. And then, of course, permanent. So sometimes when we explain them, so the scientist, they says, no, matter doesn't need to be conceived or perceived by five senses. In the early days, yes, we need to know from them. But then we says force hit. They said, yeah, we are seeing the force because when you put up something, you are seeing force. We said, no, you are not seeing the force. You are seeing your hand and the whatever the things you are holding up, and you are seeing the movement. You are seeing the changing the space. But that doesn't mean the force. So anyway, we had a lot of argue with that. It was interesting. Yeah. So as I said in the treasure of knowledge, they talk about the cosmology. Of course, some part like the distance of the moon and earth, all these are not exactly what they said we are seeing today. But one interesting thing is that the formation of the earth today, what we call Big Bang, and maybe many of you may know some of the time scientists are predicting that maybe because before this Big Bang, there is something different phenomena. But in reality, the, if you are a honest scientist, you don't know what is there before the Big Bang because we don't see what is happening there. And even today, the world, the earth, and all the stars are expanding. The universe is expanding. And I think even today, we are not really, we don't have a tool that can measure the size of the universe. Because since the universe is expanding, and then the speed of the expenditure speed is very, very high. Like after 10 gigaparsec, the speed of expand is faster than speed of light. That is what scientists discovered. So we don't have any tools to discover speed of light so far. So that's why the David Frankenstein, he was a physicist, and he have a very beautiful story. He has been doing research on space particle. So that's why when we have discussion, he was saying that I said the scientist has discovered the size of the universe. He says that's not true. So then we discussed, and then what they found was after 10 gigaparsec, the expenditure speed is faster than the speed of light. That's what they have found. So therefore, yeah. So then, yeah, in Buddhism, I don't think they have mentioned the size of the universe, but they always says it's infinite. And then, of course, they always say, "Cheme chongdangye bijigdikam." It means the count number of the sand beads of the universe. They always say that. That means it's a very huge number, but they didn't have correct number. So those are the things I think it's interesting to discuss with. And then during the formation, how the first air, fire, water, and particle, these four things, scientists are talking about these four things. Even in this Buddhism, they talk about these four things to create the world. And in the Big Bang theory, of course, I think it's theoretical, they never, I think the scientists never reached up to the Big Bang, but maybe close. So after that, they predict something has happened. Yeah. And yes, then that and that is about the cosmology side. And then the treasure of knowledge also explained that every phenomena has been, they've been categorized into 5 6, 18, 13, a number of things. 12. So there's when we call 5 pungbunga, how you call pungbunga? 5 aggregate. 소개 분부, 초회 분부, 두시 분부, 두지 분부, 남시계 분부. So this is, I think it doesn't cover the whole phenomena because permanent phenomena are not included here. But when they call keche, it's chugi keche, the chugi keche color. So yeah, those things are, it's included everything. So there's a different ways to making a division, too easy to understand. Yeah, please.
In our Buddhism, we're taught that for something to exist, something. In Buddhism, we're taught for something to exist, it has to have a basis, some basis, basis of, and then it has to have a consciousness and a name. So things come into existence through labeling a basis with the consciousness, via our valid consciousness. So how does science marry that with, like these particles, smaller, or, because is that just somebody's mind labeling some basis?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? It
Yeah.
just might be their mind making it up.
That's very, very important question. Thank you. Yeah, we had some discussion with some of the neuroscientists and also the physicists. So when they are looking at something to try to find out what they, how do you go, they separate each other, go deeper and deeper, go down. They never find anything. So they think. So then it comes to the point how we say every phenomenon exists as how do you call imputation. So if there is a phenomenon which arises from its own inherently existent, if there is, then you need to find it in there independently without relying on anything. That is so what we call dependent arising, very, very important theory. So sometimes I always joked with those professors. They are trying to find out a theory of everything. So they try to make a theory of everything, but so far we don't have one. So I said dependent origination is the theory of everything. And empty of inherent existence is theory of everything. So far, yes, then when we ask these questions, as you ask me, the questions to them, then they used to try to convince us sometime, and then they said, this is philosophical question. They've moved there, really. This is a very good excuse. They moved to there. Yes, I think even I believe the physics is finally it will go to the philosophy. I find that because the matters, they try to find out things in the matter. And finally, you don't find it. They go deeper and deeper than quarks or muons or whatever they call today. And then when it comes to the string theory, so today, nobody have seen that string, I guess so. But things, there may be these things are there. So then they are trying to create, of course, they know something is there, but they don't know what is that. And then of course, everybody had to name a new, when you find a new thing. And then, sorry, call this now. I lost myself. Yeah. So yes, this is very interesting thing for them also. So then, yes, when you go deeper and deeper, when you don't find anything, of course there is something, but you are not finding it. And then you have to, you are not finding it through your eye, through not telescope, microscope. But then now you have to use your sixth sense. That is consciousness. And then the theoretical things coming up. Then it comes to the philosophy. I always believe that. Now, when they come to the quantum physics, of course, they have many tools to measure length or whatever they call now. They are calling like space particle. Nobody have seen that space particle. And then they are calling dark matter. Nobody have seen the dark matter. Nobody have any idea of dark matter. That's for sure. The dark energy, dark matter's dust. We have many names, labels of this. So these are actually, I argue them that is not physics. Even though, because if it is physics, you have to have kind of things measure, weighing. So we cannot do anything this. But yes, they come to this stage now. That is very, I think, high knowledge, but still, yes. So these are the, I think, convincing us. Maybe you might have heard about the Alan Wallace. He always tells me that, why are you wasting your time? He always says that. But he's very, he's professor in physics. And he have been doing meditation for many, many years. Not continuously, but yeah, he take a break and doing meditation. And he was a monk in early, and then he disrobed because he has to go to the college, university. So yes, so that by yes, to especially now that when we talk about the labeling something is within the Buddhism also we have different schools have a different thought. Then the highest school like Prasangika Madhyamika, it comes to the level. And also one of the very clear indication, usually what I call is someone like Professor Richard Ernst, Nobel laureate. When he was in school, he was just Ernst, Richard Ernst. Then he got the doctorate degree and he is Dr. Ernst. He wasn't Dr. Ernst before he got that degree. After the degree, they labeled it. It's the same thing I find because when we were just born, we don't have any name. Nobody has labeled us. If we are exist with that name, then we should have the name as soon as we're born. So that can apply in everyone. And then there was a little joke. I think there was an Italian professor. He was retired from university and he used to play with me a lot. And then one day he said, Geshe-la, now today you ask me a question. And I said, are you sure you're going to answer me? I will answer you. Not today, but tomorrow, yes. So I just joked him, okay, we were sitting on a dining table. So I said, okay, you find the table on the table. So he was thinking, and he said, okay, I'll give you answer tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow morning we were on the breakfast. I forgot that yesterday's program. But in the morning he said, Geshe-la, you tell me where's the table. So he said, I was thinking all night and I couldn't find it. I said, the answer is very secret. You have to find it. I never told him for a couple of days, and then we just discussed. Why I said this is because we have in the Sutra, the mind is not to be found on the mind, nature of the mind in clear light. I applied the same thing on the table. So these are the, yes, phenomena that could be, yeah. Yeah, and now when we came to the neurology, and early I've been focusing more on the neurology because I thought there's something to do the mind, and later on the physics comes to more interesting. They are giving you beautiful things, beautiful answers, and really it's the honest scientists. They are really brilliant. They one thing, the Professor Stephen Chu, the Chinese guy, American citizen, he has been uh, doing research the particles behavior in a very very cold situation, cold climate, like below the many zero, maybe the cold is the behavior of the particle. He was doing that experiment, and then he told in the Mind in Life, he says, I don't know is a very good answer in science. That was, I really like it because it doesn't make misconception to the people. If you don't know something, if you just, without knowing, if you give something to the people, may get a different wrong answer. So that's why the scientists are, all the scientists are not very honest. Many are biased, really, because in the neurology especially, many of scientists says the mind is emerged from the brain. They don't know exactly it because they don't have answer to this, and then they know something's happening in the mind, and then they said the mind is emerged of property of the brain. Yes, they really are in the neuroscientists, they have a very beautiful information how our eye works. When we look at the things, where does it project? And where does it send the information to the visual cortex? And then from the visual cortex, it spread the information to feel the pleasure or pain or keep in a memory. It's a very beautiful circuit is there. That is like, it's not really precise information. This is a visual cortex is here. But if we open inside it, there are millions and millions of neurons are there. There are all not the visual cortex. And then memory and feeling, pleasure and pain and anxiety, all these they've found some space around that. That is brilliant, I think. Of course, it's very, very difficult to find it out, but still, they need to go very far away. In the Vasubandhu, when we talk about the consciousness, only on the eyes, when you see something and the eye consciousness, or you see a kind of for the flower, but as soon as you see the flower, there could be arises a feeling, pleasure, but mostly flower gives you the pleasure. And at the same time, the focus is there. So here we have Asanga and Vasubandhu, they have a little bit different in the counting numbers of the settlement, subminds. Yeah. So that mental factors, yeah. So the Asanga has only 5 omnipresent minds, omnipresent mental factors. And then if it is a valid consciousness, then there need to be another add 5 next 10. But Vasubandhu, there is a 10 omnipresent mental factor. Sometimes people may find this is contradiction, but in reality not. Because when Vasubandhu says, when he says samadhi, it means only one focus. Because even it is not a valid cognition, when you see something, whether it's true or not, the focus is there. So that means that is samadhi. But in Asanga, samadhi means you need to be a little bit more stable. The difference is there, different way of understanding in this now samadhi, but in general, yeah. So then our question to them was, when you get a kind of consciousness or perception, how many neurons are working together? Which neurons is giving you pleasure, feeling? Which neurons is working for the samadhi? And then when it comes to here, that is too far away. So Alan Wallace is also talking us. He said, I'm not saying that we'll never find it, but it's going to be very, very difficult to find it out, the brain. So the one of the very beautiful finding today is that the way of your thinking, you can change your brain. The mind can change your brain. That is already scientifically they found it out. In early the things that from childhood, certain age, the brain may grow up, then stop. Then they already made a borderline there. It's not going to grow up, but it could be reduced. But now they found it can be expanded. Of course, brain is not going to be bigger, otherwise it will not fit in our skull. But yeah, it can be, it can grow up new connections and it can be create more active in the certain part of the brain. So those are, I think, one of the very good proof that the brain, the mind is not really emerged from the brain. Number one, that, and yeah.
So the question was, it says, hi Geshe-la, I have a question. Can the observer change the nature of the phenomena through mere observation? Shall I say again?
Can the
Okay, can the observer change the nature of phenomena simply by observing, by mere observation?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because when you look at the flower, simply looking at it, you cannot change the flower. But if you, the same flower, if you and some other people looking together, you praise in mentally, you like it, you praise it. And to you, the flower is going to be, you will see a very positive way. But some other side, the same flower, maybe the person doesn't like the color, right? Then for him, it could be not beautiful as one thinks. So that is also one of the very important phenomena information comes for the Chitta Mantra. The Chitta Mantra always says, every phenomena, if you're looking at this cup lid, you have your own way of looking at it. I have my own looking at it. And one very obvious thing is different creatures, like the human being look at it and all looking at it, some other bird looking at it, they see the different color. Because they're, what do you call, the road and cones, we have different numbers. And then also not only that, maybe the human beings we are looking from same perspective, we are looking at the same phenomena, but because your own perspective phenomena is there and others' perspective phenomena is there. So therefore, yes. So therefore, yeah, that can be happen, but only looking at that and changing the natural, I don't think it's possible. But yeah, beautiful question. Thank you. Yeah. So where are we now?
Uh, with the brain and the mind, with consciousness being a different phenomena, let's say, than material and matter, what's the interface between the consciousness and the brain or matter? You know, like there must be some interface, the way that the consciousness can affect
What
matter.
connection?
Yeah. How does it connect? Is it just like a vibration, or is it like something
Yeah,
happens?
exactly. Yeah. Thank you. That's tough question. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I think because when we talk about the consciousness, we say, especially when the Rinpoche was teaching us, and the energy, the wind energy and consciousness travel together. We said the one who doesn't have eye and the one who doesn't have a foot, they travel together. The who doesn't have the foot is eye, and who doesn't have the eye is wind. So the wind is taking consciousness there. So when we say wind or energy, it's not the wind that today we are facing here. That is very, very talking about very subtle. So what I think was one very obvious thing is when we are too much depression or maybe very heavy in your mind, you get pain here, and then when you do meditation, and then sometimes very high lung problem people, we suggested them to think under your, what do you call here, soul, and then you think there, and sometimes even if you cannot think, then just think about a syllable of that, so that all the wind energy goes down. And then when you are thinking too much down, then the wind energy goes down. So that's why I think when we doing lots of experiment, we are thinking too much high. So that could be a wind channel, wind are coming up, and to what do you call, activate the supportive brain. Could be. That is what I think so, but I don't know exactly what they said. In Buddhism, they really don't talk about the neurology, but they talk about the wind energy. So when we, there is one of the very important topic from your question, when we say the people stay as an intermediate state meditation, in physically, medically, he's died, but his body remained very fresh for 17 days, 15 days. And one of our neighbor, Geshe Jambala knows that. He stayed 15 days in a very, very hot season in maybe May, March. I think it's quite hot in Balagobi. And then all the students, they put the butter lamp around there. He was sweating, but he's still fresh. Of course, clinically, he's dead. He remained as 15 days. So that is what we usually call is, we said the subtle mind and energy is still inside the body. So when it releases, sometimes you can see a hole here. You can see it, the hole. So when he release it, and that is, I think, could be a very good practitioner. Or someone release the blood here, and someone release the nectar from your cigarette butt. So that is when it release your, when it, the wind settle mind and wind leaves your body, then immediately it will start smelling your body. So that could be one thing, because it's, if there isn't any wind, any energy or wind inside, nobody can move up and down. So that could be one answer, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit further to the question of Philippa. When you're doing a meditation and you just try to calm your mind, there's still bubbles of thought coming up.
Mm-hmm.
These are not reasonings, it's just bubbles of thoughts. What are the scientists saying? Where are these thoughts coming from? What creates those thoughts? What are the impulses of these thoughts?
But the thousands thought coming inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what scientists says, but because scientists doesn't do the meditation, I think. But yeah, from your question, I have one new thing. In the Sergey, we have a now very, very big, beautiful science center, quite big. And we have a physics lab, biology lab, and we have a meditation lab. And they are doing an experiment on the meditation. The people are doing meditation. They are collaborating with the Pisa University, and also a group of Russian professors coming there, spending 15 days there and doing research. And we have at the meditation lab, we have a small meditation house there, and we have all the wires outside, put all the projectors here, detectors there, and join with the computer, and they are doing research. Before this coming, we have, the first time we have done this experiment to the monks debating. When we brought two monks, and one sit down for the answering, another was asking questions, debating. Though we have seen the frequencies are completely different. Then we kept both of them together as an answer, and we called someone else to debate them. And we put all these electrodes to them, and then they are answering, and then their frequencies are completely same. So that is showing that when you are coming to the opposition part, you have a different frequency. But when you come together, it comes. That is kind of the first time we try to see how it works. Well, then we start with doing test experiment with, we have a small retreat center. So some of the monks have been stayed like maybe 10 years. I think more than 10 years. So we brought them, put the rods there. So that was quite interesting, because the monk who've been staying longer, his the result of the frequencies are very gentle, very stable. But someone who, then we took someone from outside, never done a retreat, and then we brought it up and checked his frequency. That was too much mess. So those are, yeah, we have done some, those are just, it's a pilot project. Before doing the real experiment, we have done that. And then now today they are quite serious. Now I'm not in a science center. I used to go there, but the young generation people are working there. Yeah, one thing, when I was working for the science, at the early, as I told you, I had to face lots of difficulties because I don't have supporter outside. Very difficult. Fortunately, because of His Holiness advice, nobody says no. But they say, of course, you should do this. Okay. But when I need something, they don't come to me. So there's time, yeah, we had a quite struggle time during this. But now at the science center as well, nowadays, most of the monastery in the south, everyone have their own science center. Many of them are doing good research. And Emory have also lab there in the Tupung, Emory University. And we are not with any kind of working with these professors, but we are not really combining our lab with the people. And also we have some Indian universities we are working together. They never ask us to kind of, do the experiment. They want us to share what we found. And then one day we said, why are you not coming up and see what is going on? They said, I know what is going on because they believe in meditation. They believe in all these things. So that's why they want to see what scientists is. That's they are looking for. Yeah. Yeah.
I will read it. Okay, so the question is, what about the double slit experiment, the wave and the particle one, where that will alternate depending on the observer. So and then the question is, does that not show how mind can influence phenomena? Do you know?
Double slit experiment.
Yeah, so they say now, doesn't that show that mind can influence phenomena?
Double slit experiment?
Yeah,
I think double slit experiment is giving you information about the behavior of particles. Especially they are looking for the light photons. They are sending the photons in the double slit. Then they don't know what they are thinking. So that way when we say photon, it's a light, could be a particle. That is what they are finding. And I was really wondering what could it be the photon, because nobody can see it. Whatever we can see on the sun rays, it's the real particle. Those are not photons. But yes, they found something in the photon that there's a kind of, so that's why now they are talking about the wave particle duality concept comes from there. When we inaugurate the first science center, a small one, not a big one, but His Holiness was there. At that time, we showed him this experiment. We show him the double slit. We bought, actually, we don't have to buy it because we didn't knew that. So we got the tools to see the double slit experiment. We bought it. Then, of course, it shows very beautiful how the light hits like a wave. So then, yes, what do you call? Yeah. So that I don't think it can be make any differences to the phenomena, because when we are looking at the double slit experiment, we are trying to find out what are the phenomena, what are the reality of that phenomena is. We are not creating something new. So yes, thank you for asking.
Very happy to talk to you. Um, there was a question about the flower. Can we change the flower? For me, like, yes, in one way, because the particles can become energy. The energy must be the energy of the mind. Then if you come from the particle, let's say the flower has many different particles, so that will become the energy. That energy is the energy of the mind. So once you change mind, that energy changes. That in this way, it must be changed. So,
No,
but in a single person, maybe a little bit difficult. But if the flower is coming from the energy is coming from the mind, then when you change the mind, it must change in this way. So from the Buddhist point of view, and as also the Geshe-la mentioned, the air, which is traveling with the mind. So the energy, something to do with this air. From the scientist's point of view, from the Buddhist point of view. So, like, when I think from Buddhist point of view, it must change.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion, but actually, I don't think so, because at the moment, the question is, observer can change the phenomena, number one. Number two, energy can be transformed into matter. Matter can be transformed into energy, but not mind. There isn't any theory that mind can change into physical, and physical can, no matter energy or whatever.
When you say energy, maybe we don't, philosophically, we don't say, mind become the energy, but that energy must be the energy of the mind. Otherwise, the energy comes from where?
Particle. That was when particle comes smaller and smaller and smaller, smaller. Finally, it turns into energy. That is what we say, particle turns into energy. The energy also later, energy can be transformed into that scientifically and Buddhist philosophically don't. Sorry, coming in Hindi. Both said they agreed it, but so far, mind is a kind of invisible phenomena, an untouchable phenomena.
In Buddhist point of view, which means everything's conditioning. That condition is also depend on the intention. So
Exactly.
in this way, what do you think?
What do you mean conditioning?
The
It's when you perceive
Dumba.
things,
intention.
intention, dumba. Yeah,
But
yeah.
mind can't change physics.
Yeah, but dumba is a mental factor. It's a mental factor, but physical, like when we say physical, especially at the moment we are talking about the matter. So matter can transfer into energy. Energy can be transferred into matter, but mind never transfer into energy. Energy never transfer into mind. If that has happened, then we can create a mind outside. Yeah. Yeah.
Can mind be there without having an expression? And then the expression of the mind needs energy.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do agree. In expression, mind need energy. And when we say energy, when you are, say if you are too tired, your mind will not work as when you are very healthy.
Mhm.
That is true, but that doesn't mean that mind can be transferred into energy. Mind need the energy of your body, right? That is true. And when we talk about the mind need energy, when we talk about this kind of mental phenomena, it's a very, very grosser level of the mental phenomena, just usual our mental phenomena. When it goes down and deeper, when your mind goes, when you can activate your subtle and settled mind out, then there's nothing to do with the physical. Thank you.
You need meditation, need reality.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Fun.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's
think it's on. Yeah, I think in Buddhism, hello, this way.
yeah.
I think in Buddhism we might call this debating. As from what I understand about consciousness is it is there is some kind of material something happening on a material level. So when you think something, it's a process of transmitting information. Like you think of the apple, they've done experiments too with like thinking healthy thoughts, good thoughts to things. It changes something about the energy, the information there. You know, when you make something appear and disappear, some people have those abilities. There is some way that the consciousness is influencing the physical reality, the chi, the whatever. So from that perspective, I think there is evidence that the consciousness is influencing reality, whatever labels we give it. You know, you can do it to your apples at home. You can, oh, you're lovely, you're happy, you're healthy, and then they can last longer than in plants too. So I just
I
mentioned
didn't
that.
get your question. What is that? When you
I was just sharing a observational insight, and maybe you will talk about that. But the idea that the mind can transmit information, can influence something in some way.
how do you mean influence?
Like the example of thinking positive thoughts to your apple or to
Yeah.
anything, and something about that is causing some influence that can be measured. So you think negative thoughts and it turns brown. You know, you say
Yeah. Oh, no.
like
Yeah,
that.
I think you got wrong. I didn't say negative thought doesn't turn the apple brown, but in your concept, you doesn't like it. In your mind, in yourself. So that what I said is at the looking at the one phenomena, you have different ways of thinking that. Like say we talk about a burger. Somebody likes burger, somebody doesn't like. Someone who likes burger looks beautiful. Someone who doesn't like it, to them it appears a little bit different. But it's not the fault of the burger. He's not creating burger bad, but his own mental, what is the perspective, his way of thinking. So like when you go, like some people likes in a beautiful garden, but some people doesn't like to go in garden. So why? Because this is their, so those to their organ, sense organ, it's actually they're sending same information, but because of your conception, it creates a different kind of, you are not changing that phenomena, but to you, it appears like that. Because apple is apple. You cannot change the apple by looking at it. But to your way of thinking, your way of looking at it, it has a lot to do with the background. You get it?
Yeah, I think I get that from the perspective of, you know,
Yeah.
everyone sees a different version of reality, you know, their
Exactly.
subjective view. There is a objective reality, but you see depending on your patterns of thought and all the factors. But just from the perspective of when you look at something, does it influence it? I think that is relevant to the apple thought experiment, you know, where
Yeah, it's
you look at it and
when you look
changes.
at their your mind is not influencing apple. You are not creating apple ugly. But say like one drawing, you like the drawing, but some other people doesn't like the drawing. So the one who like it drawing, it's beauty to him. But other who doesn't like it, him it's not beauty. But the phenomena are same. That is created by your own but you are not changing the phenomena, but it's your own way of thinking. You got it?
No. Thank you.
Sorry.
I'd like to ask a similar question.
Mm.
So, the power of positive thinking, such as the placebo effect, can you heal your body by thinking that you're healing the body, for example?
Yeah, that is, we have a lot of evidence that thinking positive heal your body, because that is the reason why when we say like the same disease to people, the one he always live as a positive, someone he live as always negative. The one who live in the negative positive, he heals very quick. But other, no matter how much, how strong medicine he takes, it very difficult. Because therefore, your healthy mind is very important for your healthy body. That's, we have lots of evidence. One of my junior teacher, Geguda Kishiwangel, he had a problem with the heart. He had a heart problem. He has a sugar problem. He never ate the flour, wheat flour. He always want the white flour. And then I tried to buy the brown rice for him because he has a sugar problem. He said, this is not good for me. I don't like it. But still, he always lived in a very positive. So that's why, of course, it's not good for his health. But because of the mental, kind of the situation or status, it doesn't harm too much. He lived 85 till 85 years old. And then even and I think before 15 years, early, I think 2002, 3, he had a problem, and we took him to the hospital, Apollo Hospital, and then doctor says you have to go through the surgery. He has a problem with the heart, and then he asked me, what should I do? Should I go for surgery? I said, please don't ask me this, because of course, it could be good for him, or it could be very serious for him. He can die on the operation theater. So then he said, okay, many people have gone through the surgery and they didn't live more than 1 year. So why don't we do the prayer, all this, the expenditure of surgery? I said, well, good. Then we went to the doctor and we told him we are not going through surgery. But then doctor gave him lots of medicine, of course, maybe 15, 20 pills a day for 3 months. Sorry, for first 15 days. Then we went there and he checked, he have done the blood test, and again we went there for again 15 days. And then he gave for 1 month, 3 months. After 3 months, the doctor said, I never expected it will heal this much. Then he gave us a 1 month medicine. The medicine was maybe 75 medicine was canceled. So I always think, of course, the other people have the same problem. Someone who was very much worried, and then it decays your body very quick. It eats. But he always lived in a positive. And then after that, probably he stayed maybe 15 years. So yes, your healthy mind is very important for your healthy body. That's, I don't know from the scientific point or Buddhist point of view, but I know this from my own experience. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the first question was, can you explain the why some of the science community are having trouble believing in mind as an emergent property of the brain? And if is the discussion with Buddhism creating more doubt for them?
I don't think Buddhism creating no doubt, more doubt, but I think Buddhism giving them a way to explore more. Of course, they don't. I appreciate that they don't stick on what Buddhism said, but of course they should do the experiment. You know, we always looking for an experiment. We would like to know if really it is emerge of brain. Definitely, you know. As I said early to a professor, if the scientists can falsify Buddhist dependent origination and two truth and four truth, then we will never go through this. But yes, it is not confusing them, but they are giving you a more option to do experiment.
Mm.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
Okay, and then
Thank
a
you.
small question is, see, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm understanding mind in this context is the same as consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't say that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So-
Is it? Thank you. Thank you. I learn a lot from you as well, because whenever we talk more, asking questions, I learn more, and I'm still learning. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kishila, sharing lots of knowledge and Buddhism and modern science together. And I think this is very good discussion because Westerns learn a lot modern scientists. And I have lots of questions, but you have lots of questions. I don't want to give question now. I think question for you. How modern scientists learn how to developing your understanding emptiness, physics, quantum physics. And Kishila, thank you so much. You coming here, sharing your knowledge. And also the online people very enjoyed. And we have very enjoyed. Thank you so much.